thank you guys for logging in for the kickoff of our Partner Alliance portal. It's something that most of you guys know that we've been at work at for the last few months, and we're excited about announcing this. And I think you'll be impressed in how easy it makes the whole sales process, getting literature and getting a presentation to a customer quickly, efficiently, and effectively. But today, Steve Roberts will be presenting, and we'll make this very informal. If anybody has a question, please let us know. If not, we'll do questions at the end, and we'll let Steve go through. You want to take it from there, Steve?
Absolutely. I've started the recording as well, Tim. So should be all set. Still got people beeping in, so guess if we're good with that, we'll get started. Well, excuse me. Welcome everybody to the Partner Alliance portal presentation. This is a system that IntelliCloud has obviously deployed, and I'll be running through it with you today as to how you use your own individual portals. The implementation that IntelliCloud has created here is actually allows each of you to white label your own websites, and when you're sending proposals, make it look like obviously that product is your own branded product. So what we'll be running through here today is the setup of your own sites, how you add users, how you do the branding portion of it. We'll run through that quickly, as well as actually do a couple proposals, and basically how to navigate around your own portals. So with that, let's get started with the very first thing, which is where is this site and what's its URL? Up in the upper left corner, you'll notice it is at https://partner.intellicloud.com. So if you'll all bookmark that, that's the site that will essentially present the Partner Alliance portal login screen. We've created a test partner here that you'll see here, T-Testorino, with a password. Now, each of you will be sent a password. Tim, I don't know if you've sent those yet, username and passwords, perhaps at the end of this.
No, I have not sent that out. I thought I would send everybody that at the very end.
Very good. So you'll all be receiving those, and when you do, you'll enter the username, password right here, and click Login, and that will bring you into your own site. And so I've got about 7 or 8 items we're going to run through here, just to hit at least the highlights of the site itself. Number one, notice that there is it will welcome you with your own username and password. And it'll actually give you links to some of your own statistics. How many quotes or RFQs have you done to date? How many orders have you placed? Somebody just put a music on hold. Tim, is that you, Adrian? Yeah, we're going to have whoever just put the music on hold, we're going to have to turn that off. It just not be on hold.
I can't tell who that is either, so we're going to have to hold on just 1 second.
Well, maybe I can. There, somebody did it for us. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll go back here. So on your own home pages, you will notice there's a bulletin board, and this is where IntelliCloud can make announcements to you of different events, different activities, different things. Could be product related, could be meetings, contests, who knows what it might be, but that'll all be on your home page. There's also another important one here, order renewal reminder. Notice that these are actual links, so that if you had an order in the system, because this system does contain the ability to go from quote to order and track it while it's over in the order process. But once those orders are installed, you will find that some period down the road, you can be putting in reminders saying, this was a 1-year term, wake me up next November, and put a timer in there that essentially will pop up here on your screen. and it might say 3 here or 5 or whatever the number is. When you click on it, you'll see all 3 orders or all 5 orders that are coming up for renewal. So some very handy things right here on your home page. Let's go in and talk first of all about, since that's your home page, about how you're going to have to go in and probably next step is to private label your own site. To do that, you go into Company Profile, probably first thing you should do. Go into the Company Profile and enter the name of your company. We put in here, obviously, just Test Alliance Partner. And put in a description of your company, whatever you want to be essentially on all of your proposals. There's an echo with somebody who just joined us. Introduced an echo.
Yeah, Greg Davis.
Yeah, so Greg, if you could just mute yourself there, that would help. Thank you. And so go into your own company profile, kind of first step. Customize it. You do want to check the box to say show your logo in the upper right-hand corner of the proposals. Put in your company name, your description of your company, and then upload your logo. Now, it gives you instructions on uploading the logo. It's quite easy. Just set it to your desktop. But each of you will have your own logo here, and you must name it. When you go save it to your desktop, follow the instructions. Each of you will have a unique number here. They all won't be the same. Agent underscore logo underscore, and then essentially a 5-digit number there. Okay. Any questions, just ask me while we're going through. I'm happy to make this interactive. Okay, so you'll go in, and once you upload that logo, save it as that, do make sure it's roughly this in size. It must be JPEG, and the name must be .jpeg. That's an important part. It's not just agent logo 16071. It's 16071.jpg. Okay? Save that on your desktop. Go browse to it. Click Upload Logo. And the next thing you'll see is that logo will be appearing down here in the preview box. And it will be also on all your proposals. It'll also be on your branded site. Okay, so that's really the main thing you have to do for private labeling your site. Let's go in the next thing you should probably do. On my profile, notice that you were given a username and password, but the username, I should say the passwords are not very creative. They're essentially a 6-digit number. And if you want to put in something that's more memorable or more personal to you, feel free to go click on Change Password and type in your new password twice. And then click Update. You will now have a new password. Okay? Just make sure you write that down somewhere so you. If you don't have it, by the way, Tim can always send it to you again from his system. Or if you ever lose it, feel free to contact him. So that's your username password. Let's go into Preferences, another area that kind of personalizes your portal or your system to your own use. There's different places you can land when you log in. You want to come into the home page, but maybe you want to land where you do new quoting, new RFQs, or where you can go view all the RFQs that have come in and what their status is. Or maybe you like to land on the orders page. You can change your own landing page just by clicking on your preferences and selecting what page and clicking Update. RFQ Manager, that's where all the quotes go. This is where all your current opportunities really are residing. And in here you can go look at it for a whole year's worth of them. If you're doing a lot of quoting, maybe that's a lot of pages of RFQs. My own personal preferences, I'd rather have more days than just a short clips. I'd rather see all my RFQs. Somebody just put us on hold. guys hear me okay? You can.
No, we can't. If you take a look at the bottom of your screen, it's Carol Kamansky. I'm muting.
I'm wondering. Tim, can
Thank
you hear
you
me?
for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line. We'll be right back with you.
Tim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Once we get this off hold, maybe we need to make sure everyone understands not to put it on hold, just to mute it.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah, I don't have to hit her keyboard. Oh, I think maybe, yeah. Is it Carol? Is it? Thank you. Was it Prashant? Who was it? Somebody told me it was Carol. Everybody good again?
Okay.
Yes, we're good.
I think everything.
Okay.
Just definitely
All
can't
right.
put our phone on hold.
Yep. Okay. So continuing, you have your home page. Like I say, preferences. Just go in and set the things the way you want. Of course, these can be changed at any time. How many quotes you see. This is the actual message that goes out when you send quotes or proposals out to your clients. And you can come in here and customize this anytime. Sandwiched in between these two paragraphs is the actual link to the proposal. So we'll show you that process later when we do one. Doc Manager, we have the ability to instantly prepare and generate all your order paperwork. Again, that would be IntelliCloud branded paperwork, right, Tim? You can correct me on that piece.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And menu styles. If you have a lot of agents, you will have the ability to go in and put all the people in your organization below you, create username and passwords for all of them at no extra charge. And if you do, you'll have drop-down menus to view them. Well, if you've got hundreds of them, you may want to put in predictive text instead of the drop-down menu where you've got to scroll through a lot of your own users under you in your organization. So again, those are things you can do. Notifications, notify me when the customer opens the proposal. That's a nice little feature. Often you'll send over here in RFQ Manager the proposal off to the customer, and you sit back and you don't know, did he look at it or not? Well, the system will send you, if you click this to yes, an email that says, hey, the customer viewed your proposal. So it's, again, a nice way to close the loop with your customer base. So that's just some things in preferences you should be aware are there. Homepage we've covered. Let's talk about users. Users are where you can go in and add. To do that, go in and click in the left sidebar. We call this the left sidebar on users. Now you're looking at the page of all of your users. And it's in here where you can select them to be either a sales manager or a rep. Those are just two designations that we have that designate hierarchy. First of all, you have been created as the administrator of your partner portal. As the administrator, you're the only one who can go in and really add people at both levels. You can add sales managers, and in fact, if you click on that button, notice your partner number will be some code here that's already been created. And that'll be unique to your company, these first 4 alphanumerics. But after that is where you can start assigning up to 99 what we call sales managers. Those are the second tier below you. So you have 99 sales managers, each of which can put reps below them. And in fact, they can put up to 9,999 reps below them. Again, all at no charge. Each one of these almost 10,000 reps would all have a username and a password. They all would be logging into your portal, and each of them would be able to go in and do quotes, give you feedback on quotes, enter contacts, and certainly go in and track their orders as their orders are moving through the provisioning process and into installation. So you now have a very nice tool to be able to add essentially unlimited users below you, okay, at no cost. Now when you add them and start adding them, notice if you want them to use these links that are available to you that Tim has created, make sure that the links over here is turned to yes. If you want them to see that same bulletin board that you're looking at, you'll say yes. And if you want them to share and make use of the document library where documents are being put out, Tim, I don't think we've placed those out yet, but that would be a yes or a no here.
Everything under branded literature would be each partner's literature, and it's already put out there now.
Perfect. Okay. So that's kind of what you can do with your users. Any questions on users before we move on? Everybody good there? Can I add you?
Hi, Steve. Yeah, the question is, how can we create a separate quote for, pricing sheet for each of the manager or representative?
Well, first of all, pricing can be adjusted by you if the privilege is extended, and Tim can speak to that. And you can go in and change the pricing on a partner-by-partner basis. In terms of this, does that answer your question? If you want the ability to change the pricing around a bit for each one of them?
And Prashant, we'll get to that shortly, but
Yeah.
you will have the ability to set pricing levels.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll show you that shortly.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all your partners will be in there, and you can add them anytime. You can go in and deactivate them by clicking on their name. You can do that. So all we would essentially do is click Add Sales Manager, fill out the information, click Save, and you'd have a new entry, 123401 and 4 zeros. So that's his unique 10-digit code. Then if he logs in and starts using the system, he doesn't have an Add Sales Manager button. All he will see is Add Reps. So since you have 99 potential sales managers, you should use those, I'll call it sparingly. Most people never come close to 99, but if you ever thought you were getting to the top of those, you want to make sure you always put sales managers positions and reserve those for those people that might have people below them. If they're never going to have anybody below them, simply add them as a rep, because a rep can't have anyone below them. They're the last in the chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, because you as the administrator are 0, 0, and we're starting to create up to 9,999. You can just type them in, type in the name of the customer, or not the customer, the partner, and click Save, and you've just created a rep. Okay? So when you're looking at this list, the ones that are bolded will be sales managers. The ones that are not bolded are reps. Okay. If you click on their names, you'll go into their profiles, and when you click on their profile, you can activate them or deactivate them anytime you want as well. So that's a little bit about the partners and setting up in what we call the user manager. Let's move to resources and sidebars and start working down. This is very much kind of the telecom technology space. If you were doing telecom-related things such as circuits, internet, integrated voice and data, Ethernet over call, all the other things that we have specialized in the telecom space, we get very involved with things like this. And make use of these. They're free, cost you nothing. But if you need to know, for example, if you have an area code and a prefix for a particular location. You're interested in this kind of data, it's available to you. This is all based on the LERG and NAMPA and who providers are around the country and where you can get circuits, what mileages are between locations. You could put in 212, 246. This is for determining the length of a local loop to connect your customer, as an example. So if you were going on and getting circuits, you know, I know most of this is customer brings their own, but if they're asking you to go get that, here's a nice little tool for you to do that. So I could put in, let's put in 949,499, that one I know. And that would be from New York to Laguna Beach, and that's a loop of 2432 miles. So for private lines, IOC distances, or for local loop distances, nice little tool finder here. If you're also interested in looking up what the ILEC code is here, and you don't know what it is, you can just put in an address anywhere nationwide, and it will give you the ILEC code for that location. So a little handy resource center here for you. Trying to think of anything else over here. Oh, Help Center has kind of commonly asked questions. If you're in some of the areas within the system and you want to know how to use it, there's also a help screen. See the little yellow question mark? You just mouse over it, and it shows you how to use the different things on that screen. So it's kind of your on-screen help. So let's move on to some of the fun stuff now. Let's actually go do an RFQ, we call it. That's a request for quote. First of all, you're going to be asked the question, is this a new customer or prospect or an existing one? If it's new, then you need to fill in the information down here, and only the asterisk fields are required. Now, we know some of you are sensitive about putting in your real customer's information. We always encourage that you do, because nobody's going to see this, log in, see this site except for you. Nobody below you can see it, and nobody equal or above you can see it, except Tim, who hosts it. And if you can't trust Tim, who can you trust? I always say. If you do, though, want to just enter in your own information, you could do that. Okay, just use my contact as a customer's for now. You don't want to say who it is. But do at least get the service address. You will then later on, when you place the order and want the paperwork generated, you're going to want the real information. So then you'd have to go back and modify it. So that's why I always would encourage you to put in the real customer information here. So let's go back, do a new RFQ again. Now, if for purposes of this demo, I'm going to save a little bit of time here. I'm going to use the existing. And also note agent. This is where if you have created 100 users underneath you, all 100 will be on a pull-down menu here. And you can select John or Mike or Linda or Sue or whoever might be your agents, your sub, what we call sales managers. When you select them, their list of customers will appear on the list below. Okay? The system retains and stores every customer or prospect that you create an RFQ for, or you go into contacts and create some leads under different, what we call agents. Agents are all of your sub-agents or all of your users below you. They will own certain customers, and those will be stored here permanently. So you don't have to come back in. Once you've entered it once, it's in the system, and you can just use it again and again to do as many quotes as you need for that customer at that location or any other locations you need to add. So let's show you that. Let's assume Test Company's been entered before. We did a quote for them last year, so they're still on the menu. Click Continue. And now it gives you the opportunity to enter in a new location. We have a location in here already, down on the list below, only one, but you can add another one or you could actually import many locations. So if you find yourself, you've got a spreadsheet of locations from the customer that you need to quote, just highlight, follow the instructions here, highlight this column headers, put it onto a spreadsheet,
Hey, Steve, are you there? I can't hear you anymore.
my apologies, I think I dropped that time.
Okay, good. Are you back, Steve? Good.
Yeah, I'm back. Everybody okay? It was just me, I think, actually. Okay, so let's continue. So I just was mentioning that this is where you'll import in bulk all the locations. You don't have to be typing this in manually, but you can, and when you do, Tim, currently the service is you bring your own connectivity, right? But we do need to know all the locations because we can place orders, RFQs, I should say, across many locations. So it's good to build out this list of locations for each requirement. You'll notice a check mark here. In previous days, we were very much concerned about NPA NXXs. If you're quoting circuits, that's one of the things we do within the system, but that's not really a focus of this implementation. So I'll just bypass that. But you can correct bad NPA NXXs automatically. They highlight as blue. You click on them. It will resave them up here and essentially change red X's to green checks automatically. Let's continue on. Enter it in. You've now got multiple locations. So this is where we're going to go in and do quotes and proposals, continuing on the process. Select the term, 1, 2, or 3, or month to month. Let's do a 3-year. And the time frame, that just goes into reporting for your funnel reports, step 2. Then select the service type. Notice there's 3 main product lines that we can do RFQs for, requests for quotes. Let's go in and do the hosted VOIP for a start. When you select that option, notice that it unfolds an entire RFQ form. Again, select from the drop-down list the location that you're doing it for, and then pick the requirements. So I'm going to say we need 10 of these. And Tim, you want to just give me some numbers as I'm going down? You know your product line really well.
Right, let's do 1 metered. And we'll skip down to talk pass, and we'll do 6 talk pass.
Got it.
Okay. Now you notice on the IP phone section here, this gives you an opportunity to say yes or no. Do you need phones or do you not need phones? And let's say we do need phones, Steve.
Okay.
All right. Now, in the system, we have, well, you have an option. The next option is do you want to purchase the phone or do you want to rent the phone? So we can predetermine that at this point. So let's just put down we're going to purchase the phones. And we can, since our system and our product is not proprietary, we can use any phone model that might be out there. But for the most part, we seem to standardize on Cisco, Polycom, or Yealink. So in this example, let's use Yealink since that does seem to be the most popular brand selling today. So then if you notice, once you choose the brand phone you want, it's going to give you the entire line with a description, a model, and it's going to give you the purchase price. If this was a rental phone, it would give you the rental cost in those parentheses. And as you can see, Steve is scrolling over. It'll give us a scroll picture with a detailed technical description of each phone. So if you're talking to a client or a customer and you're trying to figure out what's the best fit, this gives you a good opportunity without having to go to the website. And this covers pretty much those three manufacturers' entire product line. So this is a point at which we could put in what the quantity is of each of the phones that we've chosen.
Are these prices the partner price or the retail price?
No, this is strictly for you. So this is the partner price, and yes, they're subject to change. If the manufacturer were to have a price drop, then we'd go in as quick as possible and we'd drop that pricing also to try to keep up with what's going on in the marketplace. Again, the idea, most of the phone pricing we buy from one facility that we all buy from as a group, so we get better pricing, and the idea is that passes on through to you anyway. So, but okay, after you've chosen the phones that you want, if you scroll down a little further, now this section here on routers, we initially built this, and now I think we're going to change this because the models and brands of routers change so rapidly. I think what we're going to do is we've internally tested, and we think if we choose, 1 to 15 users, and then we'll just put a router price there, and then if we use 15 to 30, and then choose another router, whatever might be the best brand on the market at that time, and then if it's 50 users or more, then obviously we'll put another section that's going to prompt a conversation with their IT department to figure out what router and what strategy we're going to use. So we'll probably remove the specific brands out of those two sections because any router that is going to be adequate, which gives us QoS and option 66 capability, we're going to be able to buy for less than $100. So we'll probably just put a price in there and just leave that as just, yes, we know the customer needs a router, and then here's a price for it, and we'll decide what exact brand later. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, and then scrolling down, and the idea of this is ultimately we're going to have this merge into the workbook. It doesn't do this today, but these are some of the same questions that you're prompted and you're asked when you're in the workbook, which is the first one is, how many numbers to port. So in this example, let's use 2. We're going to port 2 numbers. And the second example, do we need any new DID numbers for this customer? Let's say no, we do not. And then it also asks, do we need any new, do we have any DIDs that are outside the local area code or international that need to port? So in this example, let's just say no. And then it says, do we have any new outside local or international DID numbers? And we'll say no to that also. Let's say we have one toll-free number that we do want to port. We have one of those. Do we want to add any new toll-free numbers to this order? Let's say no, we don't. An unlimited inbound email fax number, let's say the customer wants 3 of those. Okay. As we continued on to the features and options, it's going to ask you again the same as the workbook, because the idea is we're going to ultimately have this migrate together, but how's the call coming in? Let's say the call is going to be answered by a receptionist during the daylight hours or day hours, and once we go into night mode, let's say it's going to go into an auto attendant mode. All right, in this example, let's say there is no call queuing because we have a receptionist answering the phone. Follow me, dual ring. Yes, we're going to give all the phones that capability, which I forget, Steve, what you put. I think it was 10 phones. Voicemail to email notification. Of course, that's a standard feature, so we're going to give them all 10 phones that capability. Music on hold. And again, these are all features and functions, as you know, that come with our product. So let's say one music on hold. On-demand recording, let's put a 0 there. A lot of customers don't want to offer that. That is a feature that we offer for all of our customers, but let's just say most customers want to control that, so we'll put a 0 there. Do we want company-wide call recording? let's put a no there. And the reason we emphasize that, because we need to make sure right up front if we're doing a company-wide call recording, because there is hardware requirements that we have to plan for, and we have to plan for building an archiving strategy. So I just wanted that to really stand out so we would see it. This is a new feature that we've added, because I believe there's not a customer out there that wouldn't say yes to this, which is our emergency reroute service. Although I think we've typed rerouter service, but it's an emergency reroute service, so we'll put yes there. And the idea there is that, of course, we're not charging anything for that service, but it gives you the ability to emphasize to your customers how important an emergency reroute process is, because whether if the internet were to go down or something goes down, we want to make sure that where do you want calls to go? Does it go to your personal cell phone? Where does it go? We want to make sure that that question is answered and talked about with every customer. And then we've seen people give it away. We've seen people charge, $10 for it. We've seen people charge $100 for it. It just depends on what customer, what your situation is. But emergency reroute service is, I think it's a very important thing that up until now we haven't been giving it the attention that it deserves. But I think it's something that we all should focus on a little more. Okay, the next item there is a conference bridge number. So let's allocate one conference bridge for this particular client. And then Glowcom, which is our soft client. Let's give all the phones a soft client, which will be quantity 10. Okay.
Good.
All right, Steve, you want to take it from there?
Sure. So we click Summary. Now, this is the requirements that you just placed for this test city. Now, if you had a multi-location deal, it's quite simple to replicate. You don't want to have to go back through that whole process and answer all those questions again. So you simply click Duplicate. This is a key button here. If you had multiple locations, let's say 20 or 50 or 200, I think we have a practical limit of 200 locations, just so everybody doesn't put in 1,000 and think they're going to get 1,000. But 200, I think we throttled it to. If you wanted to create one, let me just show you how it would work. You just highlight that location, or Control select 5 more locations, or Shift and highlight. Either way you do it, you highlight them on the left, click the Add for Duplication. It puts them on the right, and you say Duplicate. And so now your request for proposal has 2 locations on it. So you could actually use that functionality of duplicate and edit to go in and put in multiple configurations, if you will, at the same location, or the same configuration or different configurations across several locations that are all similar. You would just go to the second location, click Edit, and when you click Edit, it takes you right back to the same form and you make your adjustments. I don't need 10 at this second location. I need 15. And therefore, I should probably have 5 more phones. Let's put them over here and call that 10. So the math has to add up, by the way. The system will determine you asked for 10, and we only ordered a certain number of phones, and they don't match, so it'll highlight that. So let's click Summary. And now we're
Steve, can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Just as an example, if some customers that are out there are asking you, well, can you give me a quote on purchasing the phones and also provide me with a quote on renting the phones, this is a good place where the first, you can duplicate your quote, do the first one as a phone purchase, and then do your second one as a phone rental, and now you can provide a quotation for both.
Exactly. All on a single proposal.
Tim,
so let's submit that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question on, I didn't see residential gateway as an option. Is there a separate one?
Gateway, let me look here real quick. Did you want to go back through the form? Was there a question? I'm not familiar as Tim is.
I'm sorry, Prashant. Can you repeat that question?
Residential gateway. So you have analog line that you want to convert to IP. Remember, people have analog line on the back side, and you want to convert them to the IP. So like for a PBX, like we were talking PBX has 6 analog lines currently used, for example, to connect to AT&T, and we want to convert them to voice over IP. So we put a residential gateway in front of them, like 2-line or 4-line residential gateway that converts the analog lines to the IP. What is that?
Well, I think, Prashant, to answer your question, this particular quoting format here is specifically for like a cloud-hosted voice over IP. Now, if we provide SIP trunking, which we'll do an example of a SIP trunking quote in a second, and I think that's what would give us the ability to do what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. I got it. Thank you.
Sure. So we do the summary. Now you can go back in and actually add other things, but let's just continue on and submit it. You've edited it. You duplicated it. If you've duplicated it incorrectly, you can delete it and then duplicate again. Quite flexible to use these buttons the way you need. Submit it, and then go. It'll show you what you submitted, and then go to the RFQ manager. All the RFQs flow into the RFQ manager. And notice it'll even send a little pop-up, a little alert. RFQ 486, etc., has been completed. The system's already generated that quote for you. Here's the RFQ number. This is the tracking number. We call it RFQ number for virtually every RFQ you submit. They're all unique, just like a FedEx tracking number. When you send this proposal off to the customer, it's very easy to do. Let's go actually look at what the proposal looks like. We know that it generated quotes. See over here in the quote shown? A quote was generated for each of the 2 locations. And if you want to know what the requirement, well, let's just go to the proposal, probably be quicker. Here's your logo presented by you. It'll have your company description. We just put in Test Alliance Partner, but if one of you guys is called ABC Corporation, it would say ABC here, and it'd say ABC is the leading supplier of, in the Miami area or wherever, you're operating. So make sure when we talked about company profile that you put this information in here so it's on your proposals. We can come down in here and actually look at the proposal, what was generated. Remember, we asked for a 3-year term. So it itemized all the items that we selected, times the price and the quantity extended. And you can send this off to the customer right now if you wanted to.
And Steve, on here, if you'll, I'm sorry, if you scroll down a little bit, each section is broken because I know customers ask this a lot. If you'll scroll down, Steve, the first section there, you see how it's subtotaled at 358? That's letting the customer, that's breaking out the different components. That's letting the customer know that for the service we're providing is $358 recurring revenue per month. And then the next section will be about equipment, and we'll always break it out. So that'll be the purchase price of the equipment, or it would be the rental price of the equipment. Therefore, separating the two. And then we'll show you in a minute if you wanted to add services to this quotation, there would be another section that would have about services, which is the installation or the service that you provide to install. And it'll all be broken out into those subcomponents so the customer can look at the differences, because they're always going to ask you to separate it. So, go ahead, Steve.
There's even a feature in here to allow you to add your own services. So if you have consulting fees or other widgets you want to wrap around it, you could add your own goodies here too. Mention that at least. So let's send this proposal off. It looks good to me. I want to go get it to my customer. You click the Send to Customer button, and up again, remember in your preferences, each of you as your own user and have your own username and password. Each of you have your own preferences, and it stores your cover letter here. So take this generic cover letter and modify it to your heart's content here, and it will let you do a lot of quotes in a given period of time without having to really compose and type emails. They'll all be in the system stored, so all of you can collaborate. That's what this is all about, is collaborating and having everything online, so you can be in your customer's office and be able to do anything and everything you need to do, or you can be at home making sales calls the night before and preparing everything, whatever you need to do. So click Send.
pricing a little
Yeah.
bit. How would we adjust the pricing, say by 50 cents or whatever?
Let's go in here. Let me just show you how we would send. Well, this is how you send it. You just click send. Make sure that the email address is correct. It should take it from the one that you entered when you first created the customer. It's all filled in and ready for you to send off. I'll close that out now. We could have sent it to any of you if you want it. You'll receive it, and it will look just like this, that link in it. Now back to your question. Those proposals are going out, but now you can go into what we call the quote manager. The quote manager is right here. Click on the QM, and now you can go into another whole panel with a lot of functionality in here. And again, Tim, you will set the permissions for each of your partners to let them do these things. And let's go look at a few sample things they can do. They can go in and change the requirement. This is what we asked for at that first location. But let's say the customer changed their mind and said they needed 12 phones, and they needed that router, or they needed this or this. Anything on that list can be edited. So all you would do is click requirement. Well, it's not been enabled, but you'll be able to go in here and click this, change it, and then, Tim, we need to go in and turn the resubmit button on for all your partners. There'll be a resubmit, so you can edit the requirement and click resubmit, and it will go right back through the instant quote process and generate a new quote based on the new requirement. Okay, so you got complete
Steve, here's an example real quick that Dave was asking. We send the proposal off, and the customer beats us up on price. So now we got to come back and lower our price a little bit and then resubmit it.
Yeah.
If you could go through that, that'd be great.
Well, we need to go into your partner's edit location. Over here, you'd have a button that said pricing, and they can change it. We didn't go into this particular test partner. Could you go in, log in, and go into Test Alliance Partner and click on their profile, or I can do it real quickly if you'd like, whichever way you want.
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'm going to just, I can get over here and screen sharing.
While you guys are speaking of pricing, how do we know the wholesale versus the retail on the phones and also on the service so that we don't go too low, or so that we have a guideline of some sort?
That's a good question, Dan. Today, the way we have it initially designed, which if you notice in here, there's a section for a suggestion box to make suggestions, because I think that over the next couple of weeks, we can make some dramatic improvements to this. Ideally, you know how we basically come up with some pricing of where we think we need to be. I mean, if I Google phones and Google the industry, and I just basically default it to what I think we should be able to get for this system, but on the back end, I'm going to have to prepare just like a master pricing document, and where those links are on the left, like where your branded literature is, it'll be there. So all the products and services, including phones, will have your cost, as well as, you know, what I'm thinking is you can sell it for, but that's going to vary from market to market. So if you were to pull up that section, you could print out all the cost of it and the suggested sell price, and then kind of make your decision from there.
Okay.
And I'll keep that updated, because I think everyone, like I think I said, send a spreadsheet on the phones, and it says, you know, here's what your price is, here's what I think you could sell it for based on Googling it on the internet, and here's what you could rent it for. And that's just something that I did through doing research on the industry. And again, you have the freedom, you know, as you know, to do anything you want to do. We're going to provide you a flat rate, and then what you sell it for is completely up to you. But within this portal, it's kind of hard to put both the pricing, except for when Steve finishes here, he's going to go in, and I guess I forgot to set up the test to give you the ability to edit pricing in this test module. And but once he's finished, you'll be able to go in and see that information and then be able to edit that pricing.
So now we can go back into the quote manager. Notice these are all highlighted in blue, and you have a resubmit button. So as I said, you can go click on requirement now, change the requirement to whatever you want, and click update. Then click the resubmit button, and it will generate a new quote. In fact, I'll just do that. What the heck? Are you sure you want to send it through? Yes, I do. I just made my change. It whirls around for a second, and you'll see, since we're not going out to 20 or 30 or 40 carriers and getting quotes from Level 3 and XO and Windstream and all those guys, it happens quite quickly. And, well, where is it? Where did I put it? I thought I generated a new quote.
Steve, is there any way to use a different from address for sending out email? Because, typically I use, from my website, I have my own email address versus here it's a partner email address.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think here. For which particular correspondence you want what to come back to that address? There's so many things flying in and out of this system. I'm sorry?
Yeah, for sending a quote to my client, right? I want to use my address rather than partner at IntelliCloud, because my all communication are going typically through my website address rather than.
Okay. Preferences.
Oh, okay.
Quote ready. Right down here. Change their signature to what you want it to be.
But the from address would be different, right?
Right. You can define that, Prashant, as your email address in the preferences section, and you just need to set it as your current email address. So that way, if they respond back to that quote, yes, it won't come back to the system. It'll come to your specific email address.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
And then RFQ Manager, like I say, turn them on now for this provider. So all of you can now go in, take the standard pricing in QM, go into the location, and change the price. So this is where you can go in and mark them up any way that you want. Add $100 to that item.
For just 1 second, Steve, see if this makes sense to you, Dave. You see how now on the left you see your cost on everything?
Yeah, thank you.
And then you can see what we did is % markup or unit discount. And this is where you can define it if you have your master price list and you have agents that are working and you want to vary that price slightly, you can vary it in this screen and we can give you the ability to do that. But this is where...
Thanks, Tim. Can you back up one step? Let me make sure I know how to get to this point.
Yeah. I'm going to go back up to the very beginning. All the RFQs flow into the RFQ Manager. So you're looking here on the screen at which of your sub-agents and users. You've got 50 users. So all these names will be different. Your customer names are here. The RFQ or the proposal is a link. You click on it to look at it here. And over here is the key entry point, the Quote Manager, QM. And so you can click on the Quote Manager and enter into the back office. And essentially, this is where you can change the pricing per location. See, here's one here. This one tells you, this one had 2 locations, right? Each one of them can be edited to whatever you want. You can look at the requirements by just mousing over this one or this one, right? Just do mouse over and then click on them if you need to edit them, resubmit them. But the resulting prices will be here, and this is where you click onto the location itself of the quote. If you click the main, by the way, you'll see another screen that just shows both of them, and you can add other charges just in general. We call it non-location specific. Let's say you guys add something to it, a consulting fee that applies across both locations. You can add a charge. Let's first select the provider. This is where you probably should activate everybody as a provider, put them in as what we call private providers, Tim, so they each can add other items in here.
Okay,
under their own brand. Under their own brand if they want.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you go into the location to adjust prices, it comes up with that screen that gives you the ability to see the cost, and then you do your markup. Is there a screen in the setup process that can be set up as a default, or do you have to go in and change your prices after the quote's already generated?
Well, currently the way I have everything defaulting to that standard price like we've been working off that spreadsheet. That's what I have everything defaulting to currently. And you can go in and reset this pricing for yourself. If you have in your market your pricing is you want it to be X, you can preset that and then save that, which is different than what I defaulted to, because what I provide you is just a default, just a recommended, and then once you get it, Wayne, you can go in and change specifically whatever you want that pricing to be and then save it. And then your default will be that.
We can go in and set up our retail prices that will default on the quote, and then we have the ability to go in and make any adjustments if we need to after the quote's already been generated.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, another thing you can do that's nice here is if you, Tim has a catalog, and if you
Okay, we lost Steve.
Okay, give me 1 second. He might have dropped off. He's coming back on. But the idea, while we're waiting on him, is that you have complete control over all pricing within this section, and price it whatever you feel like you want it to. I know we're pushing longer than we wanted to. There's one last thing. As soon as Steve comes back on, we'll show you real quick, which is SIP trunking. As soon as he comes back, we'll show you that real quick, and then we'll end this. And then if we need to do a follow-up, maybe 2 weeks from now, we'll do like a real brief follow-up to this, so we can, because once you start playing around with it, I'm sure you'll have many questions. But let's give him 1 more second.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Cox Cable.
Okay, good.
All
Hey,
right.
Cox user.
Yeah.
No, I won't even say what phone system Steve's on. It's definitely with a competitor, but hey, Steve, can we, unless you guys have any more questions here, I know we're pushing longer than we wanted to. We've had some disruptions, but can we quickly go and do a SIP trunking quote, and then maybe end it right there unless anybody has any questions? Because SIP trunking is a little unique in how the form automatically fills out the things you need.
Okay. I just would like to show them 2 items here before we leave the quoting.
Yep.
The one thing is they should be aware that they can delete items off of this list. Just check the boxes and click delete, and those will be gone from the proposal. Click update. You can add things to the list. If you guys have a consulting fee or installation or anything, click add a charge, and you can type in a widget A, a B, a C, whatever you need to add. Put in the pricing, and again, click and update, and that will now be in there. And just put in, this is $10, this is $20, and this is MRC or non-recurring. This is a one-time charge, maybe a setup charge, whatever you've got. So you guys can customize and add your own pricing, tell it what it's for, equipment, voice, or other, that kind of thing. And you can even bring things in from what we call templates that Tim can build for you of items. So you can add from a template, and that's where we can build individual templates for all these guys if you wanted. So, and then put in comments. This is special best friend pricing, or whatever you want to put in. Okay, and then display that on the proposal and click Update. So then when you go look at the proposal, it would have that comment and so forth on it. So if we went back up here, you can click Proposal and go right to the proposal, and you'd see that comment on there. I wanted to also point out that this system, when you send the proposal, there is an actual order button. And the customer can then click and say, I want to order it. And what that does is, if you had 10 locations, you'd see several here. I want to order this one. Which one was it? The requirement was for these items. Collapse the requirement, proceed with the order. I'm going to come back and order the second one next week. And this is where you can create your order docs. So this system is a complete contact management all the way over into quoting, instant quoting, and then off of the proposal you can create an order over in your order record. Let's go create that. And it also creates the paperwork. Is your paperwork automated, Tim? It is, right?
No, today it's not. And again, guys, this is hearing your feedback of things we need to improve on. This was an area, an area that we need to improve on. Not only do we provide a quote, but now we have work order documents, which we provide, which I think is a lot more professional to go to market with. We can email work order documents to the customer, as well as you've just notified me internally that I have an order that I need to begin processing.
And this is the order form, the current order form. You do have it in, Tim. So this will take all the data off of our quote, puts it onto this spreadsheet, and it's all customer terms and conditions and signature ready. Okay. So.
And we have not, we have the right signature for our workbook for signing off on our LOAs and signing off on our E911s. The only thing left to do with this document is I have to quickly write an API that will allow that. Once you hit that signature page to turn into a work order, then the customer can automatically sign it on the internet and email it back. And that's the next step in this process. So then all of our paperwork will be 100% automated. So give me a couple of weeks for that, and I'll have that done.
So you're moving to e-signature, right? You'll implement with Heidi?
That's correct. That's correct.
Perfect. Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
And so now what happened was, if you go into your order module, you got an order. And this tells you the order was for this item at this location, and who the agent is, how to get a hold of them. If Tim and team are putting in status on the order, you'll mouse over this column and see all the status. If you click on the order name, you can go into the order, see when you signed it, assign that date, when it started, when it ends. That's that renewal reminder we talked about. And also track it as it's moving through. You guys cannot write onto these fields, but you can view the status as it's moving through and into installation. And any notes that were put in that were being shared with you, contacts, files, locations, all that's in here. Okay, anything that was attached, there's the main order again. Okay, any due dates that are being forecast, test, and turn up. This are forecast versus actual down here. Okay, so just be aware that you've got an order module here that will allow you to keep your customer informed as to status that you'll be given automatically. All the emails that normally fly back and forth, you won't need to. Just go into your, your partner portal, and all the information should be in there. Let's go do the next SIP one. I'm going to do an existing customer.
Guys, I apologize. This is running a little longer. We'll try to wrap this up again after this section here, and then we can come back and do a follow-up session and give you a chance to play with it. I know this is a lot of information. But, okay, on the SIP trunking, it's going to start out just exactly like all the other, whether it's call center or SIP trunking. The key here is we've tried to automate the process because, as you know, most of the time when we're selling SIP trunking, the idea is we're taking an existing customer that has a T1 and we're switching them from a T1 to some type of SIP trunking. So on our side, so that we can assist you, we're asking you to tell us the brand and the model of the PBX. Because, most all you guys out there know that there's going to be requirements in addition in some cases for some PBXs. I mean, something might have licenses. We might have to have a daughter board. There could be just a variety of different things. So long as we know the make and the model of that PBX, then one of our engineers here will see that, and they'll know to ask the question, hey, have you got the license for it? Have you got this? So that'll give us the ability to know. The second piece to this, which again, this piece is automated, there'll be one of three. It either is an analog line, or it's a PRI, or it's a SIP trunk enabled. So in this example, and you can use this, Prashant, for your example also, because this will be applicable to you to quote out of this module. If you pick analog line, pick that one for example, Steve. Okay, then the next question would be, so then we know, now I know, depending on how many lines that you choose, how many SIP lines or SIP trunks you choose, is how many analog converters or connections I have to add to that quote. So let's say we're doing, I don't know, 13 SIP trunk lines, and we'll do 0 metered. Let's say we're going to port 2 numbers. And then, again, these are the same questions that would apply to the hosted. So we'll do there'll be no new DIDs. There'll be no outside, so 0, 0, 0. We'll do, let's say there is going to be 1 toll-free number and just 0 for the rest of them. Again, as I mentioned before, we're going to change the router section to say, 1 to 15 and 15 to 30. But at this point, let's say we don't need a router. The customer already has that. So if we go ahead and hit summary. Now, in this particular situation, I don't think here, Steve, we're going to see add in the analog devices. We're going to have to submit that and view the proposal, and then you'll see what the quote automatically did for you. So hit submit. So let's view that proposal. So scroll down. So if you notice, again, this format is exactly how the hosted VoIP works, except for under the purchased equipment, since you put in it was an analog line and how many lines you wanted, we're going to go ahead and that quote's going to auto-populate with the ATA devices you need to do the conversion. If you would have chosen PRI, it's going to automatically include with that our little IntelliBox device that's going to convert a PRI, convert the internet to PRI. So, and if you chose SIP enabled, then it's not going to put anything there. It's going to leave that space open. So we're going to auto-configure that or auto-populate that for you. And the idea is if you have agents or sales reps out there that might not be as educated within the industry or about PBXs, this enables these guys to do quotes without having the experience to know that they need these devices. That was the idea of it, if that makes sense. Any questions on that piece?
Yeah, that's good, Tim. Thank you.
Okay, good. Good. But yeah, anything SIP trunk related, or like you were saying, we can use this area to quote from, and then without going into the cloud-hosted call center, because I think that's a whole different animal there, which we'll save for another time. But as you go into the call center, it's exactly like the other 2 modules. It's going to simply ask you questions, and it's going to prompt you to fill in the blanks based on, how many supervisors, how many agents do they have, do you need a wall board? It's going to ask you all the appropriate questions to enable you to do a quote. But at the end of the day, like we've always talked about, we always at some point try to involve the IT piece of that company and schedule a conference call so we can make sure, how they have the routers, how they have their LAN, what type of internet structure do they have. We probably want to take a moment, and we're learning to always test the internet, make sure that connectivity is good, make sure that there is no latency in that internet, make sure there is no packet loss. And so all these things, of course, are done outside of this tool here, but this tool was designed to help make it more fast, more efficient, more effective for managing all your new customers. And as this industry continues to explode like it has, I think tools like this will allow us to manage it a lot easier. Steve, do you have anything further? If not, then we can kind of open up if there's any questions anybody might have.
Yeah, let's open it up, but I just wanted to point out that on screen, since we didn't have a chance to go through a lot of that quoting, editing of quotes and adding your own quotes, all that's covered right here on the screen. So just go in and click the yellow or just mouse over it and up will pop it. So if you wanted to edit a quote, you'd click that and it'll give you a step-by-step what you click and then what you do next. Just click next and keep going right through. Okay, so very easy to use that.
One other thing I'll bring up, if you notice the orange links on the bottom, if I'll point out, the orange links that are built in, the first one says IntelliCloud. That's simply a link to the IntelliCloud website. The second link is simply a link to the IntelliCloud Alliance Partner website. The third link, which is kind of important, is the IntelliCloud Workbook. So now you don't have to memorize that link. That's automatically going to take you to the prompt page so you can log into the workbook. And then the last link is branded literature, where before you had to go in through the online self-care portal, and then you had to hit help, and then you went into your own area to get to all your branded literature. Well, now you don't have to do that anymore. We can log in, and let's log into that for an example real quick. Steve, it should be the same credentials, I think, T. Testorino and...
Okay, got it.
And then I think it was 357762. I think I set that up exactly the same.
I have it right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. The password to get in, because this was John Doe, it was johndoe@gmail.com.
Okay.
johndoe@gmail.com.
Okay.
And the password was simply 12345.
All right. Like that.
Okay. Maybe the part number, I'm sorry, it was 1234. johndoe@gmail.com, and the password was 1234.
Is that it there? Click
Okay.
there to download.
All right, so click that, and then that gives you the ability to go in and grab your marketing literature, your brochures, and of course everything completely branded, and to your, and it should, everything should be branded for your company with your own email address, your name, your phone numbers, just like before. So basically, you have two ways to access all of your branded material. You can go in through the online self-care portal, that's still there, or now that we have this quoting module, we'll put all the literature right there. So everyone still has access to it. It's just a little bit easier now, I think. Now, one last thing, Steve, just as we wrap up here, if you could hit reports. I think reports is another quick one. Again, we'll do a follow-up. I know there's a lot of information. Reports.
Tim, one thing, can you email that literature from the back office there to the client?
You know what? We just got that part up this week. I haven't tested it. I will test that for you and get with Steve, and let's make sure we can do that. I don't know, to be honest with you. Okay, I think if you went in, and I'll have to double check and make sure we can actually add it to a quote there. I'll verify for you, though.
Okay. Yeah, you can go into RFQ Manager and go into Open. If you wanted to send this proposal off but attach some things to it, you click the status here and you can attach. You need to extend the ability for them to add files. Check that box on their profile. We haven't done that, I guess, but normally in here you'd be able to do that. Screen's not popping up to let me do that, but we can look at doing that, Tim. Any other questions?
Yeah, can you show me where you go in to set your default cost or the retail price that would go on the proposal that would go to the customer?
Well, Tim should probably speak to that. Tim, we're generating quotes instantly at your, presumably your retail or your wholesale prices to them? Do they have to go in and mark up?
Well, if you can go back to that screen, right now it's defaulted to what it's already defaulted to a sale price for a customer. You're going to have your cost in there, and it's defaulted to what a suggested sell price is based on the industry. But if you'll show him that real quick again, Wayne, you can go in and change that if you see where that's at there.
You see it? I'm in the SIP one now.
Okay, so that's SIP trunking, correct.
So it's 18.
That's after that quote has been generated.
Right, we're looking at a quote after it's been generated.
Is there a way to do it before the quotes are generated? My concern would be somebody generating a quote, not going in making the adjustments and sending the wrong price to the customer.
Right. Steve, I'm going to refer that.
You're saying this is pre-adjustment, that you want to
Right.
make sure, okay. Well, one thing you can do is put in a safety valve that says, see here over on status, let me move this out of the way. Status says ready, but if you don't want that to be auto-ready and you want every quote to come in and be processing until one of you guys set it to ready, you can do that. Which means somebody has to look at it before it can go out.
But, hey, Steve, the question, I think, let me ask the question a different way. Is there a way to go in preferences for each particular partner before we ever start and go into the pricing table and going to where all the pricing is before quotes ever generated, and go ahead and set the pricing to their preference, to their market, so it defaults to it for them specifically?
The pricing comes out, actually, yes, you could. You need to work with Heidi on that. Remember partner type?
Okay. Hey, Wayne, if I can default that question at this time, you'd have to do it per quote, and I can make some adjustments on that. I do recall there is I do have the ability to do that, but that would be on my end to give that to you. And
Okay.
again, what I think we'll do is kind of jump into this and play around with it, and then maybe we'll do another session in about a week or two, and then that gives us a chance to list all the questions that anybody might come up with, and then we can specifically focus on the questions and things that people have come up with. Because and I know the first couple of weeks you guys are going to find all kind of things that I didn't think about or maybe I didn't implement, and then that'll give us a chance to improve it.
Tim, to answer that question, though, directly, you could theoretically have specific pricing generated for each of your partners to kind of whatever their preferences are. Maybe most of them are at standard, but there's 3 or 4 of them that have a little higher, a little lower. You can go ahead and adjust that so that their login will determine what pricing they get. And that's just work with Heidi on partner type. That's the trick.
Okay. Okay, so that's good that we can do that. So we'll make those adjustments.
Okay.
Anybody have any further questions?
I'd just like to compliment it. It's a nice tool. Thank you very much for putting that together, Tim.
Oh, no, I thank you guys so much for being patient with us getting this tool to market. It took us a little longer than we expected. As we continued digging into developing this, it just every time we would think we were at a point where we could call it, okay, this is our tool, we'd come up with other ideas, and it just kept expanding. And thanks everyone for being patient with us to get this to this point. And like I said, I think over the next couple of weeks, there's a lot of improvement that can be done, and you guys are going to see better ways that we can customize it for each of you individually, which we'd be happy to do. But again, and thank you for bearing with us. I know we were going to keep this to 45 minutes, and here we are about an hour and 20 minutes. So apologize for taking so long. And again, we'll get better at this process too, as far as the training and bringing people up to speed. And but yeah, any questions or concerns you might have, please feel free to email me or call me, and we'll continue making this tool better. And hopefully, this will help us to be more effective in continuous selling this product and getting better and better at it.
All right, and you're going to send out the login info?
Yes, Wayne, I sure will. I'll send out each individual person's login information here before the end of the day.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.